ever miss an episode. And by the way, let me just say that when you when you download the KBLA app, you can also use the open mic feature and leave me a voice note. Yeah. And so if you have something to say about one of our guests, or maybe it's something that I said, or maybe it's a headline that you heard, we want to hear from you. There is so much trending in the headlines and so much more happening even beyond the headlines. And we want to hear from you. And so don't be shy about using the open mic feature on the KBLA app. Now it's time for your national news roundup. It's time for the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. And kicking us off from Washington, the House Ukraine Israel aid package has gained President Biden's support as Speaker Johnson fights to keep his job. The Associated Press is reporting that President Biden said just today that he strongly supports a proposal from Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson to provide aid to Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan, sending crucial bipartisan support to the efforts this week to approve $95 billion in funding for the U.S. allies ahead of potential weekend voting. Johnson was facing a choice between losing his job and funding Ukraine. He notified lawmakers early today that he would forge ahead despite growing anger from his right flank. Shortly after Johnson released the funding proposal, Democrat Biden offered his emphatic support for the package. And so we don't know where this is going to go. We don't know if the cost of this might be the speaker's job, but uh, this is much needed assistance. Ukraine is running out of ammunition, and Russia is gaining ground. And so these resources could make a major difference in Ukraine's fight for their sovereignty against Russia. Back home here in the United States, the U.S. has come up with its own global strategy to thwart the next pandemic. A disease originating in a remote area halfway around the world can travel to the U.S. in as little as 72 hours. Can you believe that? 72 hours. That's all it takes for a disease to make its way halfway around the world. And that's why the Biden administration has launched a new effort to improve the ability of the U.S. to prevent, detect, and respond to the spread of infectious diseases. NPR is reporting that while the U.S. has long been the global leader in health security, the White House's new global health security strategy, which was announced just today, strives to make the country even better prepared for future pandemics, outbreaks, and biological threats, regardless of where they occur. However, experts in the field worry that the new strategy does not go far enough, and financial realities will limit the effort's impact. You see, as a part of the new strategy, the U.S. is expanding its health security partnerships from 19 countries to 50 countries in Africa, Asia, the Caribbean, and Eastern Europe, as well as Latin America and the Middle East. The U.S. is going to help these countries bolster their capacity to identify and respond to diseases, including improved testing, surveillance, lab capacity, and immunizations. The U.S. is already helping folks in the Democratic Republic of Congo with its Mpox outbreak. And officials say the hope is that the G7 will commit to supporting at least 50 additional countries. And so it's good to see that there are steps being taken to make sure that we don't find ourselves in another 1 in 100 year pandemics, not in this lifetime or the next. On the union front, for everybody who is tracking what's happening related to workers' rights, you should know why this vote at a Tennessee Volkswagen plant is historic for the South. Over the next 3 days, NPR is reporting that Volkswagen workers in Tennessee could change the trajectory of unions in the South. Just this morning, hourly employees at the company's Chattanooga plant started casting ballots over whether they want to join the United Auto Workers Union. The vote, which closed at 8 p.m. on Friday, is one of the most closely watched labor events this year, and that's because of the significance of the Chattanooga plant itself, which the UAW had tried and failed to unionize twice over the past decade. a stark reminder of the union's waning power. But today, UAW, well, people say they have a little swagger, at least swagger that it lacked just a couple years ago. It's now emerging from fresh winds in the fall of last year when the union led a historic strike against the big three automakers in Detroit and won big successes at the bargaining table. For example, pay increases of at least 25% over the course of a 4-year contract, with a doubling of pay for some newer workers and temps, plus cost of living adjustments. And so, all eyes on Tennessee yet again. We'll see what happens on the workers' rights front. And Eli Lilly weight loss drug shows promise treating sleep apnea, long linked to obesity. USA Today is reporting that the diabetes and weight loss drug, uh, uh, tirzepatide, I think I got that right, appears to help people with obesity who also have sleep apnea. That's according to preliminary findings from drug maker Eli Lilly. The results, while unpublished, are the latest in a string of hopeful signs for a new generation of drugs developed to treat diabetes. The drug, generally called GLP-1s, are the most effective ever at helping people lose weight. In recent months, trials have shown them to be effective against other conditions, particularly heart problems among people with obesity, for which one drug, Wegovy, recently received federal approval. The effectiveness may now extend to patients with moderate to severe sleep apnea, which often also have obesity. And so, look, you hear me talk about cardiovascular cardiovascular related diseases all the time. In terms of my own personal family history on my mom and dad's side, there's some cause for concern, and so anything that helps folks to be able to attain a healthy weight and maintain a healthy weight, and maintain more broadly the kind of cardiovascular related health that's going to allow folks to live a long life, I'm for it. All of these are tools, and of course, you should always consult your own personal physician before deciding on any of these drugs, if you decide on any of them at all. Moving along, the Supreme Court is to hear the biggest homeless rights case in decades, and both sides got something to say. Uh, Laura Gutowski's husband, always made her feel trapped. This lifelong homemaker said her husband, for more than 30 years, never let her get a job in Grants Pass, Oregon, the small city surrounded by mountains where they lived an hour north of the California border. Now, Gutowski, who uses a walker, lives in a tent, and sleeps on a cot under 5 layers of blankets in Morrison Centennial Park, about a mile and a half from the house she lived in most of her life. She has lymphedema, diabetes, high blood pressure, and kidney disease. And this summer, she might face more challenges living without a house. Grants Pass, a city of about 40,000, is at the center of a Supreme Court fight pitting the unhoused community against local officials. Local officials who say that they want control of their parks back. And the Supreme Court could have a deep impact on Gutowski and about 600 others who live outdoors when the judge on Monday, when they hear arguments in a case about whether the city can enforce a ban on camping and sleeping at all times in all public spaces. And so you better believe all eyes are going to be on the Supreme Court's um, questions and comments related to this case when it is before them. And finally, millennials want to retire by 60, but experts say good luck with that. The average millennial is 30 something. I remember my 30s. Your new 40-year-old says that. An age by which most of us are well versed in the ups and downs of financial life. It may come as a surprise to some that the average millennial expects to retire before 60, a goal that not many of us can afford to attain. But in a February poll, YouGov asked millennials when they expect to retire, and the largest share, 30%, chose the age range of 51 to 60. Another recent survey by Principal Financial found the average millennial expects to retire at 59. Other retirement surveys find millennials planning to work well into their 60s. Yet, taken all together, the report suggests a clear pattern. I don't know about that. What do you think about that? Click on the open mic feature on the KBLA app and tell me what you think. What do you think about that? If you're a millennial, do you plan on retiring at 60? Or do you just plan on rewiring, as some folks say? Continuing to work, but maybe channel your expertise and your interest into some sort of passion. I don't know, but let me know. When we come forward, what I do know is we have an extraordinary guest that is here to talk to us about a very important topic. It's Medicare fraud. Medicare fraud. In my life before journalism, I worked for one of the largest organizations advocating for seniors. And one of the programs that they, I believe, still have is their Fraud Watch program. And AARP does a great job with their Fraud Watch network, making sure that their members and so many of the nation's seniors have the information that they need to be aware of frauds and knowing who to call and what to do when they find themselves caught up in the midst of some fraudulent activity. And so to help break it down for us, Tatiana Facio, an education and training specialist with the California Health Advocates, is here with us today. When we come forward, we're leaning all the way in and we are learning all that we need to know to keep our friends, our family, our neighbors safe from Medicare fraud. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
Out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you tired of being stuck without internet access? Connect and go with LA County Library. It's simple. Visit your local LA County Library location and borrow a hotspot for free to get Wi-Fi wherever you are.
Are you wet shaving? You'll get razor bumps.
Nah, Pops, I'm good with Gillette Skin Guard. How long you been growing that beard mama hates anyway?
Since 77, I shaved and got ingrown so bad.
That's why I use the Gillette Skin Guard razor, face scrub, shave gel, and moisturizer. So I don't have to worry about new razor bumps or shaving irritation.
Gillette Skin Guard, huh? Your mama's gonna love this one.
The best a man can get keeps getting better with Gillette Skin Guard. Buy now at a retailer near you.
Lowe's knows pros need the right tools for every job. That's why we sell the largest in-store selection of Klein tools anywhere. Find new items like the self-leveling green laser level for just $159.98. Plus, shop the Connect pass-through socket set for $49.98, which you can only find at Lowe's. Shop Klein tools in-store and online today because Lowe's knows tools. Lowe's knows pros.
KBLA Talk 1580 is the fastest growing talk radio station in Southern California, home to 50,000 watts and an audience reach of 12 million listeners. KBLA Talk 1580 is a pioneer for Black audio content, including our groundbreaking $2 million climate justice campaign and the most loyal, influential audience. According to an independent research study by the polling firm Aviterus, for the second consecutive year, KBLA Talk 1580 is the most trustworthy, reliable, and credible news source for Black audiences and beyond in Southern California. Let KBLA Talk 1580 power your advertising dollars. Our omni-channel custom marketing solutions are specifically tailored to connect with your ideal target audience. We leverage audio, podcasts, streaming, digital, social media, and local activations to get your message out to the Black community. Get in touch with our advertising team today at advertising@kbla1580.com. That's advertising at kbla1580.com. KBLA 1580. We've got you Black. This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate meets a scholarly match.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and really delighted to be in conversation with Tatiana Facio. Tatiana is an education and training specialist with the California Health Advocates and working on an issue area that is near and dear to my heart. Welcome to the show, Tatiana.
Tell you all
Welcome to the show, Tatiana. I'm
about.
sorry. I'm sorry. We had a little delay, but I
Oh,
was saying welcome to the show, Tatiana.
thank you. Thank you. Yes. No, this is my first experience with this particular radio show. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, we appreciate you. We are glad that you are here with us, and we are really delighted to learn more about the work that you do. You heard me say before the break that many moons ago, I had a chance to work for an organization where protecting seniors in particular from fraud was a big part of some of the programmatic work in the Community State National Affairs Division of AARP. And so, talk to us about life after the pandemic and who's the most at risk when it comes to Medicare fraud.
You know, the life after pandemic just grew exponentially. It has been going on now for years. Medicare being a government program, the scammers, they have figured out how to bill Medicare fraudulently, how to garner millions and millions of dollars of inappropriate payments. And the Senior Medicare Patrol, which is a division, a program of California Health Advocates, is funded by the Administration of Community to provide practical tips, but also to report any kind of fraud, because ultimately the victim is the Medicare beneficiary, your auntie, your grandmother, your parent. What happens when your Medicare card, your Medicare number has been fraudulently obtained? Now it's like a jackpot to the fraudsters. Cha-ching, cha-ching. They start billing for products and services that the individual on Medicare, whether they are 65 or younger on disability, now Medicare is paying out money, because often what happens is that those claims look so realistic that there is no break in the processing system to kick them out. So our mission is to go down to the boots on the ground, the actual Medicare beneficiary, those who are caring for the loved one who might be on Medicare. And so our motto is to protect, to detect, and to report Medicare fraud. And often what happens is that the individual who is defrauded, and I'll talk about those scam calls and so forth, but ultimately it takes money out of the Medicare trust fund. And so what happens is that the whole system, the taxpayer, is getting scammed too, because we who worked all our lives have been paying into the Medicare system. And so when you hear reports that, there's the Medicare system is running out of money, well, they're really not, but they have to watch out for those $70 million individual scam.
Yeah, yeah, and there's a lot of talk about waste, fraud, and abuse. I just flew in from Washington D.C. this morning, and I can't tell you, how often both sides of the political aisle talk about waste, fraud, and abuse. You're really zeroing in on that fraud piece, and I really love what you're saying, which is that Medicare fraud in particular, it doesn't just impact the individual, it doesn't just impact their family and their caregiver, that it impacts all of us taxpayers, because it is siphoning off dollars
Exactly.
that prevent us from being able to fully support everyone who is entitled to those dollars, who have put in money over many years and are now drawing down on those dollars. And so I want to ask you, selfishly perhaps, because my mom
Yes.
is over the age of 70 and is now on Medicare, and so what can folks like me look out for to make sure that our moms and grandmothers and aunties and tias and tios, are not the subject of a scam that could potentially devastate their finances?
Good question. I would suggest two things. One is to either monitor their mail, because Medicare will send what is called a Medicare summary notice. In the insurance world, is called also explanation of benefits, because it tells you, that statement, who billed Medicare, when, and for what. That is one way to monitor if the individual's Medicare account has been compromised. The other one, of course, is to encourage our loved ones not to answer the phone or give out any information to somebody that calls and says, "Oh, hi, Mrs. Brown. I'm from Medicare, and I want to tell you that Medicare is sending out a brand new plastic card." That is a total bogus, fraudulent call. And that is happening in the millions of times, because how does your mother, your auntie, anybody on Medicare, how do they know who you are? Couple of ways. One, they buy mailing lists. Another one is that there is an underground black market that is selling people's Medicare numbers and that information. So when we say protect, we mean that Medicare card, whether you are in a Medicare Advantage plan, meaning like an HMO, Kaiser, or something like that, or you're in regular Medicare, it's like your medical credit card. Would you give your Visa number to anybody that calls you over the phone? No. So that's the other way to also help educate yourself, but also, and that's our mission all the time, is do not give your personal information out. Now, I'll tell you, human nature is, if it's not costing me anything, why should I bother? And just a few days ago, we had one of our constituency, their HICAP, Health Insurance Counseling and Advocacy Program, reported that one of the counselors reported that their auntie all of a sudden got a bunch of COVID tests kits. Well, that's fraud, because number one, it was unsolicited. Medicare is not sending out free COVID tests. The post office did that for a while, but you had to request it.
Yeah. We're talking with Tatiana here. Tatiana is really schooling us on what to look out for. I really appreciate you sharing with us that the idea of those Medicare summary notices and how we need to keep an eye out for those. And so, for all of our leaders, learners, and listeners out there that are on Medicare, or the caregivers and family members that are looking out for them, look for those Medicare summary notices. That's probably the easiest way to get a sense of who and what was billed to their Medicare account. That's probably the quickest way for you to spot any fraudulent activity. And my mom already practices this. If you call my mom on an unknown number, she ain't answering it. And so Tatiana Faso, our educating and training specialist over at the organization, she is sharing with us, don't answer the phone. You heard it from the expert. Don't answer the phone. The black market is real, and they are out there trying to scam people. Tatiana, I hope you will stick around, because I'm hoping that you can help us to really bust some Medicare myths out there, and also orient us to some of the most common Medicare scams that are out there right now. We want everyone to beware. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. A Boeing whistleblower is scheduled to testify before a congressional committee. Boeing engineer Sam Solopur says he became alarmed about the production of the Boeing 787 Dreamliner and raised concerns to his superiors about a number of issues, including a gap between parts of the fuselage that were not up to Boeing specs. In Florida, there will be a couple of new faces in local government in Orange County. Greg Russell was elected yesterday to the City Commission in Winter Park, and Ileana Ramos-Jones was elected to the City Commission in Winter Garden. Both runoff elections were close. Jones won by 57 votes, Russell by 34. Russell will be Winter Park's first Black commissioner since 1886. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Just a reminder, in Long Beach, most of the roadways near the waterfront are shut down as they get ready for the Grand Prix this weekend. So you're going to probably need to find other ways around the city. Heading westbound on the southeastbound on the 101 Ventura Freeway in Woodland Hills, a fender bender as you backed up to Canoga Avenue, and it stays pretty busy right to the 405. Westbound Santa Monica Freeway connector to the South 110 shut down for road work.
True Green is the easiest and most affordable way to get a beautiful lawn. All you have to do is water and mow. And to top it off, when you sign up for an annual plan by April 20th, you get one application free. Call or visit TrueGreen.com today. Restrictions apply.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
NBA Commissioner Adam Silver told Toronto Raptors backup center Jonte Porter he is no longer welcome in the NBA. Silver gave a lifetime ban to the 2-year veteran for gambling. An investigation revealed that Porter bet on NBA games, gave confidential info to bettors, and limited his own participation in games for gambling purposes. Clippers forward Kawhi Leonard has been going through light workouts this week. His status for Saturday's playoff game against Dallas is still uncertain. Kawhi missed the last 8 games with a sore right knee. Kawhi, LeBron, and Anthony Davis have been selected to play for USA Basketball in the Summer Olympics in Paris. Clippers coach Ty Lue will be an assistant to Golden State head coach Steve Kerr. The U.S. men's team is going for its 5th straight gold medal. The Summer Olympics kicks off July 26th. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Ray Richardson, your sports connection here at KBLA Talk 1580. Join me and my co-host Neil Scarborough every Saturday night at 7 for Out of Bounds, the show that brings some flavor to the world of sports for 60 minutes. We take you beyond the scores and press conferences. We give you our point of view, the way Black folks see what's going down. You can join the conversation and give us your analysis at 1-800-920-1580. Out of Bounds every Saturday night at 7 on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Like the style, though.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk. We're unapologetically progressive and we don't black down.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and absolutely delighted to be in conversation, learning so much about Medicare fraud. If your mom, like my mom, is on Medicare, or if you have an auntie, uncle, tia, or just a friend or neighbor that's on Medicare, you don't want to miss this conversation. In fact, you probably want to share this conversation. So be sure to subscribe to A More Perfect Union podcast. That way, you'll not miss this episode that you can share with your friends or loved ones. I'm talking to Tatiana Faso, who is an education and training specialist with the California Health Advocates. Tatiana, I wanted to keep you around to bust some Medicare myths. I think there's a lot of myths out there, especially, during high political season, election years like this. Are there a few that come to mind, a few myths that you want to bust for us today?
Well, yes. As a matter of fact, these happen all the time. For example, back and knee braces. Who doesn't have sometimes a back pain or a knee pain? All right. Medicare covers them. Yes, if it's medically necessary. And that has been one of our scams, is that somebody will call, say, hey, you're entitled to a back and knee brace. Well, but what if you really don't need one? Or maybe you just have a little pain. So the myth is that Medicare will just send it out to you. No, they're not. You have to see your own doctor. Explain to them what your physical challenge is, and maybe that doctor will choose to refer you to perhaps another specialist to detect that problem. Another thing, because Medicare pays it and my secondary pays it, why should I worry about it? That's a total myth, because what is happening then is that the taxpayer, and this is another thing that happens, is that when the costs go up, guess what happens? Your premiums go up too, because they are paying for stuff that you don't need, but it is costing either the government or your health insurance money. And you want to protect not only your own money, but the government's money, because otherwise, would you be willing to pay $200 a month for your Medicare Part B premium? No. So, well, actually, it's $174.70. It's getting pretty close now. And those premiums go up. Why are they going up? Because of the costs of healthcare. So one suggestion is, and you had asked before, is how else could I help? Well, a lot of beneficiaries either have a cell phone, they keep things in their calendar, or like my mom used to write down everything on a calendar, right? So you put the name and the date of doctor, whoever you're going to see. When you get that Medicare summary notice or that explanation of benefits, you compare. You see if, yes, I did see such and such a doctor, and okay. We are not professional billing decoders, but on those statements, it does have a little brief statement as to what happened. So another myth that I would say is that why should I care, because it's going to get paid anyway? Well, here's one thing. One of the scams truly affects the individual. Hospice, you get a call. We've had reports that there were those solicitors waiting for people outside of Walmart telling them that Medicare will pay for either a hospital bed or some food to be delivered or a special card to be given, like an ATM. Okay, so we've had claims that an individual was inappropriately enrolled into hospice, which is your end of life care. You've got to be declared that you have only 6 months to live. For a cancer patient that was perfectly well, continuing his treatments for cure. Somebody put him on hospice, and guess what? His curative measures stop.
Oh my goodness.
He almost died.
Oh no.
Yes, because Medicare saw, oh, we're not going to continue paying for cancer treatments because he's on hospice.
Wow. This is a really great example. I mean, it's a terrible thing that happened,
horrible.
but it's a really great example. It's a cautionary tale, right? For folks that wonder, okay, well, why should I pay attention to Medicare fraud, right? You should pay attention because if somebody is fraudulently using your identity, to whatever end, that could disrupt whatever treatments that you're getting, whatever care that you depend on. And depending on what that care is, it could have an impact on your life.
Correct. Absolutely.
Yes. So thank you for sharing that example. And in our remaining minutes, Tatiana, and I appreciate all the work that you're doing in the name of consumer protection.
Thank you.
I think folks like you and folks that suit up and do that work each and every day, that's a part of how we build a more perfect union. But before you became the education and training specialist at California Health Advocates, what led you? What led you, down this path? What led you to serve, your community and serve our country in this way?
Well, it's interesting that you say that because you probably detect an accent. I was born in England and raised in Argentina, and then I came here, but I did not become a citizen until much later. And what triggered me was I want to be part of the voting system. That's the only way I feel personally I can make a difference. The other part was I used to work in the telecommunications business. There is push, 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 market, sell, 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 right? All types of different ways, approaches of garnering income. Then I realized, no, that's really, as I get older, I said, I want to do good. I want to educate people on how to be a self-advocate, because some people either don't know how to advocate on their own or expect that somebody else will do that. No, everybody has a responsibility to be educated on, and I don't mean college or anything like that. I don't have a college degree, but some PhDs have told me, oh my gosh, Medicare is so complex, you need a PhD. Well, I've been in this business now for over 25 years, and what feeds me is the gratitude that people express because now they are empowered.
Well, please accept our thanks, because I have a feeling that all of our leaders, listeners, and learners are feeling all the more empowered. They know what to be on the lookout for, but more importantly, they know how to protect themselves from Medicare fraud. And we appreciate you. We appreciate all the folks over at California Health Advocates for what you do. Folks can go to cahealthadvocates.org. And check out the Senior Medicare Patrol tab there, and dig in even more. If y'all want to geek out and learn more about how to protect yourself and protect your loved ones from Medicare fraud, please absolutely lean in. And our thanks to Tatiana Faso for joining us right here on A More Perfect Union.
You're welcome. And just a little thing, I'm going to give you the phone number, 855-613-7080. That's to report fraud.
One more time, 855
613-7080.
Great. 855-613-7080. I would encourage our leaders, learners, and listeners to save that to your cell phone. Just go ahead and save it to your cell phone because you never know when you're going to need it.
Exactly.
Again, our thanks, Miss Tatiana. Please come back again soon.
I'd love to. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Absolutely. You've been listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
A safe place to go loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
America has an important decision to make in 2024. Who will lead the nation in these stressful yet monumental times? Business leader and Lakers co-owner Johnny Buss has a plan for America. Join us on Thursday, April 8th at 11 a.m. as Johnny Buss shares a new path forward for America and announces his independent candidacy for President of the United States. Thursday, April 18th, 11 a.m. on Kareem Court, just near the fabulous Forum. Listen to the vision, witness history. Register today at bus2024.com. America finally has the right choice. Paid for by Bus for America 2020.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for Progressive Talk Radio. Welcome back to KBLA Talk.
Did you know one of the best investments you can make? It's in yourself. At My Computer Career, in just a few months, you can start your new career in the high-demand, recession-resistant field of information technology. Isn't it time you invest in you and start a career in networking, cybersecurity, AI, or upskill to boost your current IT career? So get the ROI you deserve at My Computer Career, no experience necessary. Start now at mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
There are many healthcare organizations serving our community. Not all are dedicated to community partnerships that educate, build trust, inspire hope, and improve outcomes. Providence has a robust community outreach program and has dedicated $50 million over the next 5 years to support organizations addressing health disparities in local communities of color. Examples of this commitment include the Biddy Mason Community Wellness Center on the First AME campus, providing medical screenings, mental health therapy, nutrition, and culturally sensitive holistic classes. The Black Mamas Glowing Peer Support Group that focuses on maternal mental health, birth planning, and social support. Providence is committed to building trusted partnerships with community organizations to better understand and dismantle structural, racial, and cultural barriers to better health. During Minority Health Month, Providence is sponsoring Health for a Better World. Informative conversations with Providence health professionals on Urban Family Focus every Saturday in April at 7 a.m. To find a Providence Health System facility near you, log on to providence.org.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for Progressive Talk Radio. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and it's time for the quiet part out loud. Ron DeSantis, back in the news, signs a bill restricting challenges to books in public schools. Yeah, I could hardly believe it. I had to read the article twice. Just yesterday, or was it Monday? It was National Librarian Day. And it's interesting he didn't sign this on National Librarian Day, but apparently he signed it today. Governor Ron DeSantis pivoted in his years-long campaign to take what he called woke indoctrination out of Florida schools, signing a bill just yesterday on Tuesday to restrict challenges to books in school libraries. The new legislation will enforce a limit of one objection, a whole one objection to a book per month for people who don't have children in a given school district. Those who do have children in a district will continue to be allowed unlimited challenges to library books. Thanks, Ron. The bill protects schools from activists trying to politicize and disrupt a district's book review process. That's what the governor's office said in a release. The new law dials back legislation that DeSantis signed in 2022 that increased public participation in the review of materials being used in schools, opening the door for unlimited challenges to books in school libraries across the state. The governor signed additional legislation in 2023, which further outlined restrictions on how information on sex and gender is taught in schools, including how parents may object to explicit or otherwise inappropriate materials. Yep, DeSantis stood by the prior legislation in a news conference, again, just this Tuesday, saying that it was necessary for parents to be able to raise the red flag about books that they felt were inappropriate for their children to read in schools. However, the governor added that the prior legislation had been taken advantage of by those pushing political agendas. That's what he said. He actually said the quiet part out loud. For those of you who missed it, I'll say it again. The governor added, this is during his press conference on Tuesday, that the prior legislation had been taken advantage of by those pushing political agendas. I wonder who. I wonder who. Maybe it's the governor himself. Maybe it's the Republican Party in Florida. Maybe it's Republicans in conservative states across the country. Maybe this political agenda was a part of Governor DeSantis' whole plan to run for president. Didn't seem to work out so well. So while he's talking about folks taking advantage of this previous legislation to push their political agendas, he need not look any further than his own mirror. That's the quiet part out loud for real. You're listening to a More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to here with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
I gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right. Yeah. La, 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistent sin. Oh no, Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep a smile on my face when it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah, breathe happy Febreze. La, 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 la.
Heard any other talk radio lately that sounds anything like this? I didn't think so. You're listening to Unapologetically Progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to a More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and a lot of news continues to swirl, particularly here in Los Angeles, where I'm at today, around the University of Southern California, my alma mater, announcing that the 2024 valedictorian would not be delivering their student speech at this year's commencement. Asna Tabassum is the 2024 valedictorian. She's from Chino Hills, California. And she's studying biomedical engineering with a minor in resistance to genocide. That is her degree and minor from the University of Southern California. Take a listen to what she shared with the folks over at CBS, and I'll tell you what I think on the other side. Take a listen.
21-year-old Asna
And our thanks to CBS News for that report. Listen, uh, I feel like as an alumni of USC who's been in conversation with other alumni from the University of Southern California, that this whole situation is disturbing. You heard in the CBS speech from Asna Tabassum herself that she's using what she learned from USC. She's used what she's learned from USC to inform her world view. She mentioned she's committed to human rights for all people, and that it's simply it's not true